Once upon a time, in a cozy little house at the edge of a dark and mysterious forest, lived a brother and sister named Hansel and Gretel. Hansel was the big brother, with bright blue eyes and messy brown hair. He was always looking out for his little sister. Gretel is a little girl with pretty golden hair that look like sunshine. She has bright blue eyes that sparkle with kindness. Her smile is sweet and makes everyone feel happy. They lived with their father, who was a woodcutter, and their stepmother, who hated the children. One cold and starry night, Hansel and Gretel overheard their stepmother whispering to their father.
"There isn't enough food for all of us," she hissed. "We must take the children into the forest and leave them there."
The father was sad, but had no option but to listen to his wife. The next morning, he took both the kids with him to the woods. The father said he was taking them to collect firewood, but little did he know that Hansel was secretly dropping some colorful pebbles along the way. Their father stopped in a small clearing. "Stay here and wait for me," he said softly. "I'll be back soon." He hugged them tightly, his eyes filled with tears, and then walked away, his head hanging low. Hansel and Gretel watched him disappear among the trees. As the hours passed, they realized he wasn't coming back. Gretel's eyes filled with tears, and she clung to Hansel. "Don't worry, Gretel," Hansel said, his voice gentle and reassuring. "I have a plan." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a handful of colorful pebbles he had collected earlier. They were bright and shiny, like tiny treasures. Pointing to a line of sparkling pebbles on the ground, Hansel said, "We can follow these pebbles and find our way home." The stepmother was furious to see the kids back, and the next morning she decided to take both the kids to the woods herself. Their stepmother locked the door, so Hansel couldn't collect any pebbles. Thinking quickly, Hansel decided to use a piece of bread instead. As they walked deeper into the forest, he quietly broke off little pieces and dropped them along the path, whispering to Gretel, "We can follow these breadcrumbs back home." Their stepmother stopped in a small clearing and left Hansel and Gretel alone. They sat on a soft patch of moss, waiting. As the sky darkened and the forest grew colder, they hugged each other for comfort. Feeling scared and alone, they decided to try to sleep, hoping things would look better in the morning. As sunlight filtered through the trees, Hansel and Gretel woke up and stretched. They felt the morning chill and decided to follow the breadcrumbs back home. However, as they searched, they realized all the crumbs were gone, eaten by the birds. Feeling lost and scared, they hugged each other tightly and began to search for another way home. Hansel and Gretel walked through the forest for a long, long time. They were so tired and hungry. Suddenly, they saw something amazing, a house made of chocolate. The walls, the roof, everything was chocolate. Their eyes got big with excitement. They ran to the house and started eating the yummy chocolate. Hansel broke off a piece of the wall, and Gretel grabbed a chocolate candy. They were so happy, they forgot all about being lost. Hansel and Gretel were happily nibbling on the delicious chocolate house when suddenly, the door creaked open with a loud, eerie sound. Out stepped a witch, and she looked very scary. The witch was tall and thin, with a crooked nose and sharp beady eyes that glinted with mischief. She wore a long black dress that dragged on the ground and had patches and holes. Her black hat was tall and pointy, casting a shadow over her wrinkled face. Her silver hair peeked out from under the hat. "Hello, my sweet children," the witch said with a wicked smile. Her voice was smooth, but had a hint of something evil. "Come inside and have a proper meal. You must be very hungry." Hansel and Gretel felt a shiver run down their spines, but they were too hungry and tired to resist. Holding each other's hands tightly, they followed the witch into her house, hoping for a warm meal, unaware of the danger that awaited them. Inside the witch's house, Hansel and Gretel were led to the kitchen. Suddenly, the witch grabbed Hansel and locked him in a small, dark cage. "Stay there until you're fat enough to eat," the witch cackled. Then she turned to Gretel and handed her a broom. "You girl must clean my house and cook for me." Scared and worried for her brother, Gretel took the broom and began to clean, while Hansel watched from his cage. Every day, the witch checked if Hansel was getting fat enough to eat. She couldn't see very well, so she always asked Hansel to stick out his finger through the cage bars. Clever Gretel gave Hansel a thin bone. The witch felt it and complained, "Still too skinny." One morning, the witch stomped over to Hansel's cage, her face red with anger. "Enough! I can't wait anymore. I'll eat him now, skinny or not," she yelled. The witch was busy cooking at the oven, her back turned to Gretel. Gretel stood behind her, holding the broom tightly. Her heart was beating fast. She knew she had to be brave to save her brother. Gretel's heart pounded. She took a deep breath and pushed the witch hard. The witch fell into the hot oven with a loud scream. The door shut, and the witch was gone forever. Gretel freed Hansel from the cage. They held hands and ran through the witch's house. On their way out, they saw a room full of shiny coins. Their eyes widened in surprise. They quickly filled their pockets and continued running, eager to escape the forest and go home. Hansel and Gretel ran through the forest, pockets full of coins. Suddenly, they saw their father searching for them. "Father," they shouted. He turned, eyes wide with joy. They ran to him, hugging tightly. All three started crying, happy to be together again. With their bag full of coins, Hansel, Gretel, and their father left the forest. They found a lovely new home in a sunny village. Together, they lived happily ever after, never worrying about food or the dark forest again.